So when we're thinking about American Express credit cards, we're thinking some of the best and the most expensive credit cards that the market has to offer right now, right? And with these credit cards, you sometimes have the potential to earn tens of hundreds of thousands of points that you could be used towards aspirational travel, domestically, internationally, just amazing vacations that you can take with all of these said credit cards. And once we do what everyone tells us to do, which is to take all of those points, transfer it out to travel partners, get a ton of value, take these vacations, is that once you get to these vacations via domestic, international, you gotta pay for stuff, right? You gotta go there, you gotta pay for food, gas, museums, sightseeing tours, amenities, whatever you guys do on vacation, you have to pay for all of that, for the most part, in cash. And as a wise man once said, you can't eat your points and miles on vacation. But what if I told you there was a way to convert all of the points from your American Express account and all of your American Express credit cards that earn points into fully functional cashback and cashback earning credit cards? I mean, after all, even Luke's cashback and miles, points and miles converted to cash back, at least for the short term, the next few months at least. And if he's able to do that, then why not us too? I know personally, when I came down to South Carolina from New York, I came here with no job, no income, a fiance, and just a bunch of points and miles that I've accumulated over the years and basically nothing else. And trust me, I've thought about it more than once, converting all of the American Express points, 400,000 or 500,000 that I've earned over the years, into strictly cash back to pay for just everyday life situations. And in some cases, I kind of already have. So firstly, I know you're thinking I'm crazy. I'm like, Anthony, you can't just take all of your 500,000 points out and cash them out at a 0.6 cent per value ratio. That's nothing. That's not it. That's like taking a 50% haircut on all of the points that you've accumulated over the years. It doesn't even make sense. Why would you even consider that? But oh, the contraire, my friend. So firstly, there are four main cards or four main ways to be able to take all of your American Express points out, convert them into cash back in your wallet at nearly double the rate that American Express typically allows you to do. Showing it right here, just looking at the first one, the Charles Schwab Amex Platinum Card, letting you cash out all of your points effectively at a 1.1 cent per point value ratio. The Morgan Stanley Platinum at 1 cent per point, and then the Business Platinum, which is tied to the business checking account, also allows you to take your points out at a 1 cent per point value ratio. And then the last way would be the Amex Personal Debit Card, which of course is tied to an Amex Checking account. And that effectively allows you to take all of your Amex points out at a 0.8 cent per point value ratio. I get it. Not that great, not amazing, but it's at least 30+% higher than what American Express typically allows you to convert your points into cashback at. But for me personally, I would say two on this list really stand out, and it's the ones I really want to isolate today, that being, of course, the Schwab Platinum Card, and actually the Amex Debit Card, the personal debit card. So the Schwab has the highest effective cash out rate at a 1.1 cent per value ratio, which is 10% higher than every other option that I mentioned today. And that essentially means that for every 100,000 American Express points that you have, you can convert that to about $1,100 worth of cash back, which again is like literally nearly double what American Express typically allows you to do via just statement credits. And then the debit card allowing you to cash out at 0.8 cents per point. And the reason I found that fairly interesting is one, of course, it's 30% higher than the statement credits, but also it's essentially free because the Schwab card has an annual fee of $695 to keep open, but the debit card has a $0 annual fee. So I guess you take a 30% haircut on your points, but you save $700 worth of annual fees is kind of how that works. So that got me thinking like, what if I want to turn all of my Amex points into cashback cards, kind of like how Luke is doing right now? What would be the best setups for that? Or is there a trifecta? Is there a quadfecta I could possibly create to create the most amount of value via the system? So of course, we have to talk about the most infamous trifecta in the American Express world, that being the Amex Trifecta, right? Very, very creative. So in this case, of course, it includes three cards, right? One being the Schwab Platinum Card, allowing us to take our points out for cash back. Number two is the Amex Gold Card. That's going to be our workhorse food card. And then the Blue Business Plus or Cash is going to be effectively our catch-all credit card, right? So let's go into the numbers. And this setup altogether is going to run you a not lean, but a mean $945 annual fee every single year just to keep these three cards open. And with just these three cards, you're going to be able to cover most of your bases in your daily spending life. That being travel, that we're going to be getting 5 points per dollar spent with the Platinum Card, and that's going to be on flights directly through the airline, hotels booked at amextravel.com. We're also going to be having dining out, 4x points per dollar spent with our Gold Card, and that's going to be up to 25K of spend per year. That's the cap, and it's going to be on restaurants worldwide. And then also 4 points per dollar spent on the grocery category. That's going to be the same combined 25K per year on US supermarkets. And then of course the everything else category with a Blue Business Plus being 2 points per dollar spent on everything up to 50,000 spend every single year. But remember, this is my first day in South Carolina. I have no income. I have nothing to pay for my daily expenses. Maybe I have nothing in savings. I got to use my points somehow, right? So we're not going to be using these points for points. We're going to be effectively cashing them out, right? So now the rate adjusts. Since the Charles Schwab card gives you 1.1 cent per value ratio, now we're talking some cash back, right? So now with the updated numbers, we're going to be getting 5.5% back on all travel, 4.4% back on all dining out and groceries, and then 2.2% on the everything else category. So kind of just laying things out right then and there, you're effectively getting an over 2% return on all of your spend for at least these main categories in life. So you might be saying like, Anthony, yeah, I mean, the cashback is pretty good, right? Like it's higher than a lot of other cards in the market, but you're still paying a $1,000 annual fee every single year, right? So to which I would say, good point, but now let me raise you another point. What if I replace a card in this trifecta, effectively lowering the annual fee by about $160, adding a gas category, and actually upping those bonus multipliers? Well, it's going to be a little bit hard, but I think it's possible. Enter the replacement for the Amex Gold card. It's the worst drum roll ever. Enter the Amex Everyday Preferred card. It's one that is not super talked about in the credit card community, but I think it's a card that could be a powerhouse for the right person. And I would say I'm the right person for this card. Before I actually reveal all of the benefits, maybe you're like me. I'm someone that over the years, if I were to take the aggregate of the amount of times that I went out to eat, it'd probably add up to at most one time every single month, which is not bad, but most of my spend is going to be at the grocery store, and it's been like that for most of my life so far. And I would imagine for a lot of you guys as well. So the Amex Everyday Preferred is a card that does have a $95 annual fee. It also has a grocery category of 3 points per dollar spent on US supermarkets, so the same as the Gold card. Unfortunately, the cap is a lot lower at $6K spend every single year, so that's effectively $500 every single month. Now, I know that's kind of low, but just stay with me. And you're also going to be getting 2 points per dollar spend on all US gas stations with no cap. Now, you might be saying, Anthony, cool, well, we got a gas category, but now we lost the dining category, and the grocery category is only 3x, not 4x like the Amex Gold card. What's going on here? Well, you may not know this, and a lot of people don't know this, but this card actually has a secret superpower. Jesus, Chad, I didn't see you there. My God, sorry. Not trying to take your phrases. And that superpower is that if you swipe this credit card 30 times in a given billing period, you're going to be getting a 50% bonus on all of the points that you've accumulated within that billing period. And before I move on, I know some people might mention like 30 times to swipe the card. That's a lot. I mean, I have some other cards I'm trying to swipe, Anthony. I'm not going to the grocery store like every single day for the next 30 days. To which I would reply like, hey, you can kind of expedite this system if you really want to. I mean, you could just easily do Amazon reloads, like 50 cents each. Just do that, 30 times, and then you're good, and you still have the money in your pocket for Amazon purchases. You know you're going to spend money on Amazon anyway. Or just do what I would do and just go to my local food line at like 6 or 7 a.m. when they open, and just buy like 30 bananas at 30 cents each, and just have the cashier ring it up like 30 individual times. Trust me, just befriend your local food line cashier. They'll let you do it if you at least you chat them up a little bit. Just don't break up any marriages now. So now after you swiped your bananas 30 times, you now got a 50% boost on all of your points, and that effectively means you're going to be getting 4.5 points per dollar spent on the entire grocery category, again with the same cap of $6,000 every single year. Your 2x category on gas now becomes 3x. And then your 1 point per dollar spent on everything else has now effectively made this card a 1.5x back catch-all credit card on all purchases. Which I guess is not bad, but it's not as good as our Amex Blue Business Plus giving us 2.2x on it. So we can kind of leave that by the wayside. And it doesn't just end there, right? Because now we have to factor in the Schwab bonus, which is the 1.1 cent per point value ratio, which effectively now turns that grocery category into a 4.95% back on grocery category, $500 every single month. It's not too bad, man. And at that cashback rate, if you were to spend the full $500 every single month, so like $6,000 every single year on the grocery category alone, you'll be getting back effectively $300 worth of cash back, which is already 3x that of the annual fee, which is not too bad. And then the gas category would now turn into 3.3% cash back on all those purchases as well. And factoring that in, most people are probably spending about $100 given the gas prices right now every single month. So that's about $1,200 every single year on gas, which would effectively give you a little more than $60, like $70 worth of cash back on top of the grocery category. But of course, your literal mileage may vary, depending how much you drive. And then the everything else category turns into 1.65% back on every single purchase, which again, leave that by the wayside. It's lower than a 2% no annual fee card, so it's null and void. So now just putting that trifecta all together again with the gold replacement, now we're coming to a total of travel at 5.5% cash back, grocery at 4.95% cash back, gas at 3.3% cash back, and then 2.2% cash back on everything else. And while these redemptions are actually really not that bad, especially if you're just a person that kind of just has only American Express credit cards, kind of like myself. And as a little side note, I would actually recommend getting the Charles Schwab Debit Card as well. This is a debit card that allows you to pull your money out of pretty much any ATM worldwide with no ATM fees whatsoever. And the personal thing that I really like about it is the security. They mention here that each transaction has its own dedicated coded transaction that nobody can steal. That code is not going to be directly tied to your bank account, so if a hacker kind of swipes your information, they're not going to just be siphoning all the money out of your bank account. Each transaction will be its own, and then it goes away. So for that security, that means a lot to me. In this way, if you are abroad and you are traveling in certain places where there's ATMs, you can use this card to pull out all of your cash back from all these credit cards with no fees and no stress. So when you actually compare this entire breakdown to maybe some of the other heavy hitters and some of the other ecosystems like Chase, Citi, Bank of America, etc. These are cards that often do have no annual fee cards that do give you 5% back in a lot of categories. Like the Bank of America Customized Cash or the Citi Custom Cash or even just the Saver One card from Capital One. A lot of these do kind of stack up and all for a lot less annual fee. I do understand that. But you also can see in some cases that the American Express Trifecta might actually be able to outperform. But I guess, again, it's always backed by the caveat of it's a $790 annual fee now with this gold card replacement. And while I do agree with you, and I guess in my mind, if I'm trying to actually just mitigate that and try to bring it down to the closest to $0 annual fee as possible, I could see a world where somebody might be able to create like a quadfecta with the Everyday Preferred, the Blue Business Plus, the Amex Green Card, and then the Amex Debit Card, the checking account. But again, you're only going to be able to cash out your points at a 0.8 cents per point value ratio, which effectively bring all the multipliers down as well. At that point, you're probably better off, if you're just looking for cash back, go with some of these other ecosystems that have $0 annual fee cards, and you can get a lot less of them as well. So now you might be saying like, well, if all of those cashback cards are good, and even American Express themselves has their own cashback card systems, like the Blue Series earns cashback maybe a little bit more effectively than all these other cards, these charge cards. Why would I even worry about trying to convert my points to cash, etc.? Why am I even worried about this? But the main difference is, well, I have a choice, right? You have a choice in the matter. Like if you're trying to earn cash back with the Amex Blue Series, right, it's only going to be cash back. It could be nothing else. That cash back, that 3% on that category is never going to be more than 3%. That's all it's ever going to be. And we love it for that. But of course, it's also not going to be able to get us to the next level. And that goes for a lot of other cashback cards and other ecosystems. Sure, it's great. They might give you great multipliers. But why is the cashback so high for a no annual fee? More often than not, it's because with these cards that earn points and miles, you could usually earn way more than 5% back on these points if you redeem them correctly, right? Because we aren't just solely cashback warriors, right? Luke's points and miles, even though he's converting to cashback for the next couple of months, he's always going to be a points guy. He's Luke's points and miles for a reason. It's because he thinks that he can take all of his Amex points and convert them at a much higher ratio because he's flying on Emirates or he's flying on Lufthansa and he's going all across the world and getting literally like probably tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of travel value through flights, through hotels, etc. So I say all that to say is like, I love the option. I have the option to take all those Amex points that I earned with these trifectas, cash it out, and maybe go on a business class flight on Air France to Milan. And I could do that. And then it would end up taking like my 5% back category in grocery from Everyday Preferred and quite literally taking those points earned instead of cash back, throwing it on a flight. And now it's being worth effectively 10% cash back, 15% cash back if we're converting that flight to cash, etc., what it would kind of cost out of pocket. And that ability and that flexibility to either take it for amazing travel or cash back, or even just a combination of the two. And maybe I go to Italy, but now I want to pay for some tours, and I want to pay for some awesome restaurants, but I don't want to pay in cash, right? Nobody wants to pay in cash. And I can convert those points to cash back to pay my bill. And that's all anybody could really ask for in life, right? I really think right now is a time where a lot of people are shifting. You're noticing a lot more cashback videos. Why? It's kind of hard times right now. I mean, people have recession fears and inflation fears, and people's money is being worth less and less every single day. People are losing jobs. People are moving to different states. They didn't have jobs when they moved down, like myself. Like, it's a time where, yeah, the points and miles for awesome trips are great, and it's good to have on the back burner, but having the ability to kind of break glass in case of emergency or just pay for your everyday expenses should be in the back of the minds of every credit card person that is watching this video right now. Because if you can't just pay for your normal necessities with your credit cards, well then you're kind of just defeating the purpose of using credit cards in the first place. It's to make our lives easier and better as a result in all aspects of life, right? So let me know down below, what do you plan to do with all of your points? Are you just strictly cashback or only points? Let me know down below. So in the meantime, meet me on this next video where I talk about how to go from beginner to advanced in this whole crazy American Express ecosystem. So I'll see you there.